bhagaha, Vyakarana bhagaha. Let's do the Mangalacharanam. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Vihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Parayanam Bharataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhautame Bhorama Mamuttara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Onnama Iti अतः श्री महाश्र सूत्राणि अ इ उन् र लृक् ए ओङ् ऐ औच् हयवरट् लण् ञम ङ ण नं झबै घडदश् जबगडदश् खफ छ छ थ च च तव कपै श ष सर हल् इति महाश्र सूत्राणि. So I want to start a class with there's a correction I'd like to make. I think in the prior class, or maybe the class prior, I think I said in a hurry, Ravasaduktam, Tat Kshantavyam, that the other Prajapadikkam is used in Gita only in the 11th chapter. That's not correct. Of course, 11th chapter does use the other Prajapadikkam. Ami Hitvam and Ami. So Ami comes in the Ekadashi Sarge. Vivaramagachati comes twice. Ami Hittam Srisangha Vishanti, and comes also in the Ami Chattam Rashtrasya Putraha. But also others is also used in chapter 16 in the Gita and maybe other places also. So basically the statement I made, I think I may have said in the hurry that it is only in chapter 11. That is not correct. Asaumayata Shatrur. It may be coming other places also. So anyway, I just want to make a correction. If I'm saying something wrong, please do correct. And we try to keep this recording as clean as possible. So one more time, this others is not used only in chapter 11 of the Gita. It comes chapter and other places also. For example, chapter 16, Aso Mayahata Shutra Hanishya Chaparanati. Okay, but of course it's much less common than idam or etad or tad, of course, but still it is used. Okay, now today what we're going to do is really the Vyakaranam. First of all, thanks to Radha for helping with all these documents and proofreading, also the examples, daily examples. So let us look at the gist of today's lesson, which is going to be this, as I said, Pancha Sutri, or the Sutra Panchakam, which is from 1:137 up to 1:141. So these are the only 5 rules in the Ashtadhyayi which define the Avyaya Sanya, because in Vispanini starts in 1:137, Swaradinipatam Avyayam, and ends with 1:141, which is that Avyaya Bhavascha. That Avyaya Bhavascha, by saying Cha, he ends this section on the Avyayam. So only 5 rules in Ashtadhyayi. Please remember this. It's only 5 rules in Ashtadhyayi gives the Avyaya Sanya. Sura 1:137, Suradinipatam Avyayam, Taditascha Sarva Vibhakti, Krunmejantaha, Ktvato Sunkasunaha, and Avyaya Bhavascha. One more time. Suradinipatam Avyayam, Taditascha Sarva Vibhakti, Krunmejantaha, Ktvato Sunkasunaha, Avyayi Bhavascha. Iti Sutra Panchakam. So yena Avyaya Sanya Vidhiyate. Only 5 rules. So the moment you hear for the rest of your life, when you hear the word Avyayam, immediately ask Sadhyaha Prashtavyam. So Kena Sutrena Avyaya Sanya Vidhiyate. Pancheva Sutrani Vartante Etasmin Vishaye. Only 5 rules. 1:137, 1:141. Now every Sanya has to have a Prayojanam. So Avyaya Sanya will be used. So Nishprayojana Sanyana Vidyate. So there is no Sanya which has no Prayojanam. So Sanya Karanam Vyartham Syat. There will be no use of making that Sanya. Now the main Prayojanam for us, so that this has a few different things, but one of the very fundamental things of Avyayam is that, which is also we'll be looking at the Sutram today, which is the Avyayad Apsupaha. Very fundamental concept, Avyayad Apsupaha, is that the Supratyaha, in a Si Pratyaya Ap also, but more importantly Supratyaha, takes a look illusion. So the moment an avyayam comes, the sup pratyaya takes look. So there will be no, look means no angakaryam, nothing can be done. So the avyayam is also, but it does get the padasanya by suptingantam padam. So padakaryam kartum shakyate. So padanta karyam. So anything which requires a padasanya, you can still do that. Even on the sanya, it will get by suptinganta padam. Just like we saw in the Pumsakalinge, ekvachanam prathamayam athva dvitiyayam, when we have the supluk, still gets the padasanya. So that's the main projanam for the time being. There will also be others. There will also be others, but this is by far the most important reason for giving the avyasanya. Avyadapsupaha. Okay, so let's dive into these 5 rules. Before doing that, I'll just like to make a couple of small details, well, kind of side issues. Is that there's a very famous it is actually in the, I think in one of the Brahmana sections of Veda, I think it comes, where this is given as the Sadrisham Trishu Lingeshu Sarvasu Cha iti Prasiddham Vachanam. Sadrisham Trishu Lingeshu Sarvasu Cha Vibhaktishu Vachaneshu Cha Sarveshu Yannavyeti Tadavyayam. So Sadrisham Trishu Lingeshu, it has the same form in all 3 genders. Linga Bheda Nasti. Sarvasu Cha Vibhaktishu. In all the 7 cases, it gets written in the same form. Vachaneshu Cha Sarveshu. Sadrisham with the same form. Yannavyeti. And it doesn't transform, it doesn't go, it doesn't deviate, it doesn't deform, it doesn't change. Yannavyeti, na vyeti, tad avyayam. That's an avyayam. Of course, this always comes from that because we all just saw the sutram, which is the avyadapsupaha. Avyadapsupaha. So no matter what sup might come, we take supluk. So it doesn't matter what lingam, what vachanam, what vibhakti it is. When supluk takes place, then there's not going to be any rupa bheda. So sadrisham tishulingeshu sarvasu cha vibhaktishu vachaneshu cha sarveshu yannavyeti tadavyam. One more thing I would like to highly recommend to you is that there is a very good reference book published called the Avyaya Kosha. Just like you may have heard of the Krudanta Rupamala, similarly by the same publisher, Avyaya Kosha is an indispensable book. Please buy it. It's only costs $1 or $2 maybe. Probably one of the best $1 or $2 you'll ever spend. Is in Chennai. I think it was the old, Madras Sanskrit College. I think now it's called the Sanskrit Education Society. So they have published a very nice Avyaya Kosha, very scholarly work. It lists all the Avyayas, we're going to do today and more. It's quite exhaustive work. And also Sutra Adhara, it also gives the sutras behind that. And also the usages, prayogaha api nirdishyante, sthane. So this is a very good book. Please buy it. Avyaya Kosha, published by the Sanskrit Education Society in Chennai. Okay, so with that background, let us dive into this Panchasutri. Panchasutri means Panchanam Sutranam Samahara Panchasutri. Set of 5 rules. Set of Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam. This is the first rule, 1137. So we are in the first chapter. This first chapter is, mostly a Sanya Vidhanam. And 1137 is Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam. Of course, that has to be the first rule because the term Avyayam is used in that rule. That will go as anuvritti into the next 4 rules. So Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam. What does this rule say? The rule says that the class of terms beginning with swar, meaning heaven, and the particles nipataha are given the sanya avyayam. Very, very simple. In fact, whole of today's class is going to be not really any kind of operations, no complicated, angakaryam, nothing, just only basically with sanya vidhanam, with the main thing. So it's going to be an interesting class. So I was thinking of doing the prakaranam only in 1 class, but I don't want to rush too much. So maybe we'll take 1.5, maybe 2 classes. I just want, because the rest of your life, you can enjoy these. But they come almost every other sentence you'll have an avyayam. Like you say, even being say atha, om, cha, va. There are many of these which come in the language. Pade drishyante at last. So we have to be, it's a very useful section, doesn't require that much no complicated operations, and they'll give you some good knowledge. You can use. There's no like prerequisite for this. There's no prerequisite for this. So okay, let us see what is Swaradi. First, it's the class. It's what's called Ganaha. Ganaha. If you have, so Swaradi Ganaha. Now, what is the Ganaha? So Ganaha, when Panini says Swaradi, so Adi Shabdena, so by the word Adi, so Ke Shabdaha, Vivakshitaha, so which are the words which Panini implies by using the word Adi? So the Swar Adi, so Bahuvri compound. So the one beginning, it's the class of words of which the first word is Swar, Swaradeha. So now, how do we, by the way, before I go on, I think we had already used this one in the, when you use the thing, Chadayo Sattva, Sutra Suchi. Sutra Suchi, I hope all of you are using the website. So this is, we already know, if you look at our Sutra Suchi, you already had this Chadayo Sattva. So we had seen the Sutram Chadayo Sattva. We had used that. So that time that was the Nipada Sanya. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping a little bit, but we have used the Sutram Chadayo Sattva because we had Nipato Eka Janang. We want to use that one. So Chadayo Sthanivat. So 1-4, I think it's 1-4-57 maybe. Chadayo Sattva. So just refreshing your memory. We have used Sutram Chadaya. So there also we have the word Chadi. Of course, that time we didn't go into any great details. We required Nipata Sanya at that time, if you recall, way back. This was way back, because you wanted to use Sutram Ot. Odantoya Nipataha Saptagrija Sanya Bhavati. So we have used like no iha. So we have kind of dipped into this section. We have dipped into it one time before by using this Chadayo Sattva, which gives a Nipata Sanya. We're going to come to this. We're going to come to this shortly. But just to refresh me, we had a Nipata Sanya defined for the words Chadayaha. This is also a Ganaha. Words Cha, etc. So, and now we can connect that to what we're doing today, which is the Saradi Nipatam Avyayam. So the entire Chadi Ganaha gets the Nipata Sanya, will also get the Avyaya Sanya. Okay? But let's focus on this rule first. Swaradayo Nipatascha Avyaya Sanya Syuho. So now this Swaradi Ganaha, there's a thing called Ganapatha. This Ganapatha is like an appendix to the Ashtadhyayi. When Panini refers to a set of terms, a set of could be, in fact, the Dhatu Patha is kind of a special Ganapatha. It is listed separately though, because it's a special one. It is a list of Dhatus. But Ganapatha is particularly in the Tatita section or even other places like in this one. When Panini says this, etc., a set of words, set of group of items, terms, this of which this is the first word, then we have to go and list what the Gana includes. So this is called a Ganapatha. Now, if you look at the appendix of the Siddhanta Kaumudi or even the Kashika in the main section itself, the Gana will be given. That is what I'm getting this from. This Swar, Antar, Pratar, Punar, Sanutar, Uchchais, Nichais. You really need a reference book for this. You have to have really a reference book because hardly anybody memorizes the Ganapatha so much. In fact, we already saw, this Sarvadini Sarvanamani. We also Sarvadini Sarvanamani we have seen, 1127. That's also a Gana, Sarvadini. There are 35 terms in that, Sarvadi. So this is the Swaradi Gana, Swaradi Gana. Let's look at this Gana now. It has a lot of interesting words. Remember, these are all going to get the Avyaya Sanya. The Prayojanam is to get the Avyaya Sanya. And Avyaya Sanya, one of the main Prayojanam is to get the Mukhya Prayojanam is the Avyadapsukaha. That's not the only one, but that's by far the main one. Let's look at it, and you can use the, of course, dictionary of Apte for, getting good meanings. So Swar, let's look at the very first word, Swar. So Swar means heaven, like Swar Gataha, he's gone to heaven. So Swar Vartate. So all these places you can use Apte dictionary. We'll go through it today to get some basic, just to give you a flavor. We cannot cover all these words in the class, because it will be too much. And we have this for reference. And just now I just want to show you the Gana. So Swar, if you look at Swar in Apte, let's see what it gives. Swar. This is the Dhatu. So then Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam. So Swar, heaven, paradise is indeclinable. is heaven, paradise, Swarlokaha, Swarvashya, Swarvanu, and so on. So Swar means heaven. At least it's Mangala Shabda. It is a nice word to use in the beginning of a Gana. So Swaradi. Now Antar means inside. Antar Gachati. Pratar means in the morning. Pratar. Punar means, of course, again. Gita has many of these words. Many of these words are used in the Gita. In the very end of Gita, of course, you have it. Rishyami Punah. I think Punaha comes in the Gita at the very end. Is Vismayo me Mahan Rajan Rishyami cha Punaha. Some of these are very, very common words. This is a repanta. So be careful that this is in the repha. So these 5 terms, Swar, Antar, Pratar, Punar, Sanutar, these are going to end in a repha. So you cannot use, any ru kalyani. So the bho, bhago, ago, apurvasya, yoshi, and also the ataror, plutad, plute, hashicha, these cannot be used. It will be punaragachati, not punaragachati, punaragachati, prataragachati. So you have to be careful with these. The rephant pancha shabdaha. When this is used, when you use the word punar, you can bring in a default pratyaya su, and because su can always be brought as a default, because without, so it is ekvachanam utsargataha karishyate. Ekvachanam can always be done and default su, and then you do supluk by avyadapsupaha. So that's the way to recognize these terms. If you one just a practical advice for you is that if you see a word and you try the different vibhaktis of it, if you have never heard of any of them, you can think, this might be an avyam now. Because swar. Have you heard of the word swari? If you have swara, you can swara, swarashu. Try some of them. Swaram. If you never heard of any of these words, swarbhyam, never heard of any of these. Of course, that doesn't mean that it may not be, it might be a word not familiar to you, but try them out. If you have heard of the vibhaktis of that, then it is not an avyam, because that means that avyam of supaha has not applied. Avyam of supaha should apply. So, of course, you can also go quickly into the avyaya koshaha. If it is an avyam, you should find it in avyaya koshaha. Of course, you can go to apte dictionary also. You have to be a little bit careful about apte, because apte might sometimes give adverbs as also indeclinables. Technically, they're not indeclinables. Sometimes when an adjective is used, can be used as an adverb. In the dictionary, in the apte dictionary, he might put ind. Now that may not be, if I remember correctly, he might put that, and you have to be a little bit careful. So the best thing you can do is look at the avyaya koshaha, go there and see what is given. So I think in the apte dictionary, the adverbs and indeclinables, are sometimes he puts ind for those also. Now, so you have to be careful about that. Now, for those of you who speak Hindi, of course, you can read the Bhaimi Vyakhya at the end of volume 1, and also I think also been published separately. Avyaya Kosha by Bhimsen Shastri, also very, very, very good. Lot of examples, lot of good discussion. So there also is another resource for you, but that is in Hindi. Of course, Avyaya Kosha is Samskritam, so it's also not easy. And also, of course, Avyaya Kosha is part of the Siddhanta Kaumudi, Avyaya Prakaranam. And not only that, there's Avyaya Prakaranam also in the Amar Kosha. Amar Kosha and Avyaya Prakaranam sold as the Siddhanta Kaumudi, of course. Siddhanta Kaumudi is everything. If anything with Vyakaranam, the one place which has everything, well, almost everything at least, Siddhanta Kaumudi. That is your home base for Vyakaranam. All these classes, all they do is take small sections of Siddhanta Kaumudi, explain them to you. Any book of Vyakaranam you hold in your hand is some part of Siddhanta Kaumudi. Remember, always remember that. So that being the case, you should have Siddhanta Kaumudi in your hand at all times. So even what you're doing in these classes basically is a short version of Siddhanta Kaumudi. That's all we are doing. So anything that you Vyakaranam should be able to find in Siddhanta Kaumudi. So, of course, Siddhanta Kaumudi will draw on the Kashika and the Mahabharata. Only thing Siddhanta Kaumudi will be careful is that you lose the Ashtadhyayi Kramaha. Na vismartavyaha kadapi. Never lose track of the Ashtadhyayi order. That's the biggest risk. The main risk of using only Siddhanta Kaumudi is that you lose the touch of Ashtadhyayi. So have Ashtadhyayi in one hand, have Kaumudi in the other. That's always the way to go. But if you have to choose one of them, only one, it will be the Kaumudi. Because it is a recent work, it has taken into account all the prior developments. So needless to say, Siddhanta Kaumudi will also have the Vyakaranam. So we saw the first 5 of these. Now Uchchaihi, Nichaihi, these are also I think rather than a good job of getting the Udarana Suchi also here. So here I think you should give us examples. So Simhanadam Vinadyochaihi, Shankam Dadno Pratapavan Uchchaihi. This looks like a Tritiya Bahuvachanam. Looks like a Tritiya Bahuvachanam, but really it's an Avyayam. It's an Avyayam. So this Uchchami loudly. Loudly. So Uchchaihi will give the Avyaya Sanya by this Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam. And then when you bring the default Utsarga Pratyaya Su, then Supluk by Avyara Supaha, and we get the form Uchchaihi, which will have Uchchais, will have the Padasanya by Pratyaya Lope Pratyaya Lakshanam, Suptingantam Padam, and of course Rutta Visargau, Uchchaihi. So I said we cannot go through all of these in the class, but we'll kind of run through this. So Shanaihi means slowly. The one which are more common, you put an asterisk over here. This you have taken from the Vyakya of Bhimsen Shastriji. He has put asterisks on the one which are important. So please, I mean, doesn't mean the others are not going to be seen at all, but the more important ones are marked with an asterisk. So going forward, you can search this document and see if you can, find. This is like a Sanskrit Amvaya Kosha you have in this document right here. Rute also comes in Gita. Rute pittan bhavishyanti sarve. Yevasthita pratyanikeshu yodha. Rute pitvam. Rute means without. Not to be confused with the Rute. Rute means also truth. Here Rutam is as an Avyayam. Rute. As an Avyayam means without. Vina. Rute pittan bhavishyanti sarve. Yevasthita pratyanikeshu yodha. So these words are also used. So Rute is not the Saptami Ekavachanam Prajabadikam of the Rita Prajabadikam means Satyam. That's not the one. Rite is an Avyayam. So it pays to have some familiarity with these. So next time you suspect something strange is going on, then you can just come and search and see if Rite is an Avyayam. So Rite Pitvam Yugapat Bhavet Yugabuduttita in chapter chapter 11 again. Yadi bhas sadrishi sa syad bhasastasya mahatmanaha. So Yugapat means simultaneously. Ekasminneva kale Yugapat uttitha bhavet yugabuduttitha yadi bhas sadrishi sa syad. Hold on, Yugapat, it comes in chapter 11, number 12 shloka. So you can in fact start practicing these Avyayani in the Gita. So Yugapat, Arat means close or far, Prutak means comes in Gita chapter 1. Shankhan Dadmus Prutak. Individually, severally, separately. Yes means yesterday. How about English? Yes, yesterday. Could be close. Yes, yesterday. Shvas means tomorrow. Diva means by day. So Ratro, this is not very commonly used. This Ratro can be Saptami Ekvachanam of Ratri. It's not used that common. Sayam means evening, Sayankalaha. Chiram means a long time. Chiram Manak means Ishat. Manak Ishat means slightly. Now Josham is not very common. Let's see what uptake is for Josham. And all these words can be found in the uptake dictionary. Let's see for Josham. This is not in the Gita. Josham. Now Josham means indixi under Jush. Okay, let's look under Jush. Josham. Dhatu Jush comes in Gita. Anarjushtam Swargyam Kirtikaram Arjuna. So Jush. The Jush means to enjoy, to resort to take Josham. Let's see. Has he given here Josham? No, he has not given Josham. Okay, let me find a good meaning for Josham. That's not because they look under Jush. We couldn't find that. Okay, so these are some of these ones are not very very common words. In fact, even in the Vasu's book, he has given good meanings on that. Let's see. Josham is gladly. gladly, josham. It makes sense because dhatu josh is to enjoy something. Mm, yeah, thank you, Ravi. Arat comes in the Rudram also, the Prashna Arate Gogne. There is allusion in the Veda also quite often. So Jush is to kind of enjoy something. So Josham is gladly. Some of these may have come from, right now we're not talking about how these words came. We're not talking about that at all. We're just saying that these are now first the ready-made forms. Tushni means quiet. Bahis means, of course, outside. Adas means below. Samaya means Samaya Nikasha. Samaya Nikasha means these updates should have these. Samaya Nikasha means close to. Samaya um, Samaya Nikasha both means that near. With that use accusative. Not very commonly used, but it is used. Samaya Nikasha. Then Swayam means oneself. Vritha means useless. Naktam means at night. Nai and na, these are two kinds of negations. Now, the nai is a special one which has some special rules for it. It also forms compounds. In fact, the word avyayam itself is a Janita Purusha compound, which is not navyetiti avyayam. So, nai and na are both no, they mean no, but the nai goes to some special operation, na lopo, naiyaha, like akartavyam, and so on. So, anyway, right now we're not going into all the details of these. We are going to encounter this nai as we go forward when we learn about compounds. And so we will look at details. But all we're saying right now is this nai, of course, by halantyam. By halantyam, the nyakara sanya, so anubandha lope na avashishyate. So this has some special rules for it, but for the time being, don't worry about how these words came or, where all they are used. All we're trying to do in today's class is that, remember that they get the avya sanya, means avya rapsupaha supluk. Of course, no is very common. Then Sami is not very common. Sami is not very common. Sami, let's see what Sami means. Some of these are not very common. So Sami means half. How about that? English semi. There you have a good one today. So Sami means semi. Semi means half. Semi, demi in English means half. So Sami. Yes, what is actually the tadita pratyaya, vati. Like, I think also a good example you have put here, Shatruvat. Vartedatmaiva Shatruvat. Like Shatruvat dacharati. So Mitravad dacharati, Brahmanavad dacharati. So means like to behave like somebody, to act like somebody, to perform an action like somebody. That's the what. What being referred to here is this pratyaya, tadita pratyaya vati, comes in Gita chapter 6. Anatmanastu shatrutve varte tatmaiva shatruvat. So the Atma itself will act, will behave like an enemy. Shatruvat. Sana, how about this? Comes in Gita. How about Sanat Kumaraha? Brahmaputraha. Brahmaji's son. Sanat Kumaraha. Naishtika Brahmachari. Sanat means nityam. Nityarthe. So even in the commentary of Siddhanta Kaumudiyas, you'll see a lot of, they'll give the good meanings of all these words, So it says, I think Sanat, let's see what he has given. Sanat is for Nityam, means Sanat Kumaraha is one who is always a Brahmachari, Sanat Kumaraha. Or Sanat comes in, that's not a very common word, but Sanat is coming in the Vishnu Sasanama Stotram. Sanat comes in there. So that is also is the Nityarthe, one who is eternal. Sanat is coming there. Now the Tiras is to conceal, also to put down. Tiras comes there also. So Sanat, what's given here is Sanat Nityarthe. Tiras Antaradhau. So Tiryagarthe Paribhavecha. So Tiras can be into conceal oneself, to conceal, to kind of put somebody down, or it can have some of the meanings also. Antara. Antara he gives Madhye Vinarthe cha. In between or without or in between Antara. So Antarena iti varjane, exclusion, without, remove. So I think joke also means for a long time. So joke cha suryam drishe, it comes in tirashchinam, horizontal movement. Thank you, Ravi. Tiras, so moving horizontally. So tira can also mean horizontal. I think joke is not a very common one. It's not a joke, but it comes, I think, in the Sandhyavandana mantra, which is long time. This is a very, very famous mantra. Jokcha Suryam Drishe. Rig Veda mantra, it is of course Vedic. But so maybe let's, may I see the sun for a long time. May I be able to live long, be able to see the sun for a long time. So Jog Jivati, Chandogya Upanishad, Chandogya, means he lives for a long time. So these are some of the Vedic terms, but they are used. Jog, Sham means happiness, Shankaraha. Sahasa means all of a sudden, all of a sudden. Of course, Vina means without, Nana means various, Sasti means like well-being, Swadha, this Swadha, Vashat, Shraushat, Vaushat, these are all used when you're offering oblations, So to gods, some of them, technical, some are for men, some are for God, but these are Vedic exclamations, They don't have any, they may not have any etymology or such. Some are for the ancestors, some are for the gods, but Swadha, Vaushat, Shraushat, Vaushat, of course, Alam Alam has variety of meanings. Alam means Bhushana, Paryapti, Shakti, Varana, Nishedhesho. Bhushana means Alankaraha. Alankaraha means to decorate. Alam, Alankaraha. Then Paryapti, to be capable. So then Shakti, then Varana, to ward of an Nishedhesho. Like Alam Rodanena, stop crying. Alam means enough with something. So enough. So Alam has variety. I'm just giving you some basic flavor, okay? We're not going in all the gory detail. It'll take a long time, and we don't want to spend 4 or 5 classes right now because we don't have complete familiarity with all these words right now. Just giving a basic idea of the Swaradi Ganaha. I said we'll probably take 2 classes for this. For this Vyakaranam, I don't want to rush in one class, just give you the list and leave it like that. Good to have some familiarity with it, some idea. This Anyat is not used too much. Asti is used in the sense of existence being. They become astikyam, etc. Astikshira gauhu. Astikshira. Now this is not the Pratham Purusha Eka Vachanam Lat Lakara of Dhatu. This is not that. It's not a Tingantam Padam, it's an Amvyam. We're going to see a little bit later on in the class, we are going to have this Gana Sutram in the Chadi Ganaha, which says Upasarga Vibhakti Swara Pratirupakascha. Coming a little bit later in the class today, is some of these avyas, including the Uchchaihi, Nichaihi, these are mimicking, they mimic a Subantam or a Tingantam or Upasarga maybe. So there are some of the, like the word Asti like that. Asti was being used in the sense of, existence, being. So that Asti, which was a Tingantam Padam, started being used in Avyayam. So, because otherwise you cannot form a Tadita from a Tingantam Padam. So that's how some of these were maybe originally being used as a Tingantam Padam or Subandam Padam or Upasarga, maybe even just a Swara, just a vowel, but they have now become Avyam. So you have to be ready for that, or you get stuck. How is the word like Astikyam formed when the word Asti Tingantam Padam? So maybe there is a Avyam called Asti. Similarly, Ahankaraha. So there'll be, in fact, Ravi also gives Suttam, Namaswasti, Swaha, Swadha, Alam, Vashat, Yoga, Cha. So the Alam is used also in that Sutram, in the Ashtadhyayi. So with the Chaturthi is to be used in certain meanings. So Asti is in something like that. Upam should not use much. Kshama, Vihayasa means by the aerial in the sky. Vihayasa. Mrisha means kind of not for real Mrisha. Mrisha means not serious Mrisha. Let's leave what Mrisha, what Apte gives for Mrisha. Mrisha. Let's see what Tattva gives for Mrisha. Vihayasa. Mrisha Mithya iti eto vitathe. Not correct, not proper, not the real thing. So Mrisha, false, wrongly, untruly, lyingly, in vain, useless. Okay, that's Mrisha. Mrisha is this meaning. Mithya is same thing. Mudha, Pura, chapter 4, right, of Gita. Imam vivasvate yokam proktavanham avyam vivasvaman ve praham nirikshvaka ve varvi. Pura prokta mayanika. Yeah, so another shloka, long shloka, comes in Gita. Lokesh, I think chapter 3, number 3, I think. Lokesun dividha nishtha pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam nakarmanamana. So chapter 3, I think number 3. Lokesun dividha nishtha pura prokta mayanagha. Pura means in days of old. Pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. So mythos. What does mythos? Mythos, I think, means in rahas saharthayoho. Mythos maybe in secret, in solitude, or could mean together. Together. So mythos prayas means for the most part. One of the meanings. Muhu means again and again. These are not very common words. Then abhikshnam. Abhikshnam. The meaning given is abhikshnam muhur prahus prava. Abhikshnam is paunaf punye means repeatedly. Abhikshnam. Sakam means together. This sakam sardham means together. Saharthe together. Then namas of course means namaskaraha. Dik means fire on somebody. So dik mam, dik tvam. So dik means fire on. So that is means also navyam. So shame on something. Of course, atha a lot of meanings. It is also Mangala Acharanam, Atham is now, then, now, Ma and Mang in Nishedate. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phale shukadachana. Ma karma phale hetur bhur mate sangospa karmani. That ma bhu, do not be. Klebyam ma smagama partha, chapter 2, ma gamaha. So means do not. Why they have ma and mang, again some technical reason. With mang, the lung lakara should be, Pani says mangi lung. Mangi lung is a Pani Sutra, mangi lung. I think at the end of 3.3, Sutram comes mangi lung. So, but in the ma, you don't have to use lung. So put two of it, because look at the shloka. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phale shukadachana ma karma phale hetur bhuho ma te sangosta karmani ma astu. That is not lung lakara. How do you justify that then? Because Pani says mangi lung. That's why they put ma and mang. Which means that there's also an avyam called, thank you, Ravi. Mursham means falsehood here. Ravi has put some comments here. Thank you, Ravi. Now, so that's this ma and mang are used. Now, the one concept here is called akriti ganaha. Now, is this list an exhaustive list? This includes all the words that can possibly be in the swaradi ganaha? And the answer is no. The answer is no. This gana is what is called an akriti ganaha. Please get used to this term akriti ganaha. Because akriti ganaha means akritya ganyate iti akriti ganaha. One which is counted by the forms in the language. It is not an exhaustive list. Doesn't mean that if it's not in these many words, then it cannot be swaradi. So basically swaradi ganaha will have some prayojanam, some karyam related to that. So in this case, let's say avyadap supaha, supluk should take place. Now, if there is another word which is chishta sammata prayogaha, which is accepted by the scholars, which is an accepted word in the language, which undergoes the same operations as the words in the swaradi ganaha, then we have to understand that that word also should be included here. So one more time, an akriti ganaha means that this gana is kind of expandable. It is not exhaustively enumerated. And how do we expand the gana? Of course, for us, most times we can read the Vyakaranam will give us that. But if there is certain operation, certain behavior of words which is similar to the behavior of the words in a particular gana, there's no sutram for that. So the only way we can justify those words is by including them in these ganas which are akriti ganaha. As a practical matter, many ganas may be akriti ganaha. As the language expands, people use different words which are, may not be explicitly enumerated in the beginning itself, but they're used like that. So this one, of course, the Vyakaranam clearly says akriti ganaha. Some of them will be clearly labeled akriti ganaha. Like the sarvadini sarvadama. No, that's not akriti ganaha, generally speaking. It only has about 35 words in there, 35 terms. That's it. So sarvadini sarvanamani will not generally qualify as an akriti ganaha. Swaradi ganaha, on the other hand, is an akriti ganaha. So one more time, akriti ganaha is again all these terms you can find very, very good definitions which are authoritative in the Dictionary of Sanskrit Grammar by Professor Vyakaranam. So any of these terms, what is avyam, what is nipata, what is swaradi, what is ganapataha, what is akriti ganaha, what is dhatu pataha, what is siddhanta kaumudi, what is kashika. So all these technical terms you can find very good, very, very, very nice definitions, explanations, very, very precise, very compact with the sutra numbers in the Dictionary of Sanskrit Grammar. Please have that book, very nice book. So this is taken from that book. It's a class of or group of words in which some words are actually mentioned and room is left to include others which are found undergoing the same operations. So other such words that are accepted in the usage and grammatically behave like an avyayam can be listed in Swaradi Ganaha. So this is one more time. Akriti Ganaha is a very important concept. Please make a note of it in your mind that going forward we'll be saying many of these. In fact, we're going to see one more today also. This can be expanded depending on Shishta Prayogaha, depending on what kind of behavior that word is showing. If that behavior fits the behavior of a particular Gana, and if it's Akriti Ganaha, you can include in that Ganaha. So now there are some of these which are not listed specifically. Like Samam means together, Jatiti means quickly, Anjasa also means I think quickly, easily, directly. Sapadi means instantaneously. Bhuyaha means furthermore, again. Bhuya eva mahabaho example is given in the example list. Shrume means again. Bhuya eva mahabaho. Shrume paramam vachaha. Yatteham priyamana yoham. But in Gita also comes this word sthane. Now sthane is listed under which? Let me look at sthane. So sthane is listed under, let's see, sthane. Sthane rishi keshatam. That sthane in the Gita is not the saptami bhakti of sthana pratipadikam. The sthane is an avyayam. Now the sthane actually comes in the, it comes in the same, the Swaradi Ganaha. So, Swaradi Ganaha, Akriti Ganaha. Okay. Now the, okay. So sthane comes means it is only appropriate, it is correct, it is proper. Sthane rishikesha tava prakirtya jagat rishyatyan rajyate cha. Varam means it is better. Anisham means continuously. And ajastram comes in Gita chapter 16. Kshipram yajastram shubhan asurishva yonishu. Ajastram comes in Gita, means continuously, over and over again. Ajastram. So these are terms which you can get familiar with. Ajastram. Ajastram also comes here. So it comes in chapter 16, number 19 shloka. Kshipam yajastram shubhan asurishva yonishu. Ajastram is repeatedly, constantly. I hurl those people in demoniac wombs. Asurishva yonishu comes in Gita. So these are like pradas, avis, to manifest oneself. Of course, om. Then om can also mean okay, I accept, so be it. Avashyam is surely, surely. Samprati means at the present time. Sampratam also same thing. Shushtu means good, nice. Dushtu means bad. Ku, dushtu is bad. We're not going into full details of just giving you a flavor. These are the extra words which can be included in the Swaradi Ganaha. Swaradi Ganaha. Now the ku means kutsita, and Sampratam is not proper, ayogyam. Sampratam is improper. So su means good. Sudurlabha can mean very also, very, very or good. Chirena chiraya means after a long time, chirat. These are some words which are included also in the Swaradi Gana. So one more time, Swaradi nipatam avyam, the sutram, which gives the avyasanya. It includes the Swaradi words in Swaradi Ganaha, which are listed out, and some which are also to be included by the way they behave in the language. So even though the word may not be specifically listed, this is Akriti Ganaha, we can include those. Now it says Swaradi nipatam avyam. Now what is nipatam? Nipat is another sanya. That comes in the section was Pragrishwaran nipataha. I think that's 1456. 1456. Pragrishwaran nipataha. Up to the word Rishwara. This is an adhikara in the Ashtadhyayi. So the terms which are defined in this section, they get the nipata sanya. when Nipada Sanya comes, you also get the Avyaya Sanya. So Prag Rishwaran. It's very kind of strange usage. What is Rishwara? Rishwara is because it goes up to 1,4, I think 97, where the word Rishwara is used. Adhirishwara. So why not just say Ishwara? Why say Rishwara? Because the word Ishwara, thank you Ravi, Bhavami Nachirat Partha, Nachirat comes in Gita, Chirat comes in Gita. So if you look at the word Rishwara, up to this point, so from 1,456 to 1,497, these terms which are given here in these meanings, in these usages, they get the sanya of Nipata. And then by the Sutram 1137, Suradi Nipatam Avyayam, you will also get the Avyaya Sanya. I will remind you one thing, that we have looked at this adhikara of the Akadarad Eka Sanya. Akadarad Eka Sanya. So any sanya defined in this adhikara from 141 to end of 22. So 1421 22. In these three padas, only one sanya can remain. But that's only if both of those are defined in this section only. And the famous example which we have been seeing all along is this one, Swadishva Sarvanama Sthane Yachibham. Only one of these two can coexist of Akadarad Eka Sanya. Now how about the sanya of Nipataha? Can it coexist with the sanya of Avyayam? Yes, it can. Because the fact that the Avyaya Sanya is defined in 1137, which is Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam. It's outside this section of the Eka Sanya Adhikaraha. So Prarishwaran Nipata is only defining Nipata only. So Nipata will also get the sanya of Avyayam. So Nipatas are a subset of Avyayani. Because Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam, so there are 5 rules for the Avyaya Sanya. One of them mentions Nipatas, and the Nipatas are defined in section from 1456 to 1497. So one more time. This Pragrishwara Nipataha is in the Sanya of Eka Sanya Adhikaraha. So Akadarad Eka Sanya. And it all goes up to 2.2. But because the Avyaya Sanya is defined outside this Adhikaraha, the Nipada Sanya and the Avyaya Sanya can coexist. So now while you're talking about this Eka Sanya Adhikaraha, let's cover one more thing. That this we're going to see the next sutra, which is also the Paradeha and Upasarga Kriya Yoge. Because it's in the Upasarga of Sanya we're going to see in Upasarga Sanya. Now can that coexist with the Nipada Sanya? Yes, that also can coexist. Because the use of word Prak. So he didn't say only up to the Rishwarat. He says Prak. But you can say Rishwarat Nipata up to that point. He says Prak. Prak means make the Nipada Sanya first, and then make the other Sanya which are coming in this. So the Upasarga Sanya and the Nipada Sanya coexist. In fact, we're going to come to this in a minute now, what this Upasarga Sanya means. I just want to finish the topic of this Eka Sanya. So Nipada Sanya can coexist with the Upasarga Sanya because of Prak, and also with the Gati Sanya, which we will not see today, because Pani says Gatishcha. Gatishcha. So the Cha means is specifically saying that this Gati Sanya will coexist with the Upasarga Sanya. So in short, if something is Upasarga, it will be a Nipata, it will also be an Avyayam. So these can coexist. So this Pragrishwaran Nipata. This is a long section. We'll only look at a couple of things today. But when we come back to this section and use any words from this section, we have to remind ourselves of this Pragrishwaran Nipata and Swaradi Nipatam Avyayam. We will remind ourselves at that time that they're going to get the Nipada Sanya and then the Avyaya Sanya. So we will remind ourselves. Today we cannot go in all details of all these rules today. Only keep in mind that there is a section of Nipataha, Pragrishwaran Nipataha, 1456 to 1497. We'll be looking at only a couple of rules today, maybe 2 or 3 rules, and there are many more which define specific terms, specific meanings, which we will look at later. But when we use those rules, we will know that those terms get the Avyaya Sanya. Okay. The first important rule here is Chadayo Sattve. Chadayaha, another Gana. In fact, another Akriti Gana. This Chadi is also a Gana But these chadaya, the word cha means of course and, main meaning is and. So cha, etc. They get the nipata sanya first, and then they get the avyaya sanya by swaradi nipata avyayam. So what's the provision of that? Why not make these directly into this swaradi only? Okay, there are about 2 or 3 reasons for that. First of all, this sutram says asatve, chadayo asatve. The swaradi gana didn't have such condition on it. Chadaya asatve eva nipadasanyakaha stiho. So asatve means what? When it doesn't refer to a physical item, a material thing, something which has gender numbers, it is not a physical item. So when we looked at swaradi nipadam, the word swar means heaven. So if this word swar had been in the chadi ganaha, it could not it would not get nipad sanya in that meaning, because the chadayo satya, like a word like and or wa or, these don't have any physical dimensions. So they become aware, they get nipad sanya only when they are used as asatve. That's number one. Now there's a word like pashu. There's a word pashu which is listed in this gana of the chadayaha. Now that pashu will get the nipada sanya only when it doesn't mean a beast or an animal, because the word pashu has, of course, a couple of meanings. One of the common ones is a beast. So that pashu will be here pashu. Pashu is an indiclator, means to behold, how good, So that avyayam is only in these meanings because of chadayo satve. When pashu means an animal or a beast, it will not get the nipada sanya. So that's one difference between the swaradi and the chadis. The chadaya have a condition that asatve. So if a word has 2 meanings or 3 meanings, then only on those meanings which doesn't have a physical dimensions, a material thing, only then it will get the nipada. That's number one. Secondly is that these there are also some swara implications of these ones. Some nipatas will get a particular swara in the Veda. Now that only nipatas will get that. So those are specifically for these ones. So that is why, in fact, you might see some words which are duplicated in the chadayaha and also in the paradayaha. In the swaradeha. One more time. Either chadi is gana for 1457 of those terms which get the nipata sanya and then subsequently get the avyaya sanya by swara nipatam avyayam. Some terms are included in the chadeha which may be included in the swaradi also, and vice versa. You don't know why they are here and there, or they're in both places. Some are repeated also, because of the fact that there's particular swara in the Veda which is required for these terms. Some might require both kinds of swaras, some might require one kind of swara. There's another reason why there's an overlap. Some overlap is there between the chadeha, swaradeha. And of course there are also some other operations, because nipatas might take some operations, which, in fact we just saw that. We just saw an operation which we already done before. Sutram ot, chadeha, she says the odantaha yo nipataha. So pragriya sanya bhavati. Only a nipata ending in o gets pragriya sanya. So now nipata only comes in this chadeha. If you put this word like aho or no in the swaradi, it will not get the pragriya sanya. So in short, there are 2 or 3 reasons for this. One is that so why are there 2 separate lists? Is that the chadeha has a condition on it of asatve. If a word like pashu is used in chadeha, it will get the avyaya sanya only when it doesn't mean a physical thing like an animal. So second thing is that there is some swara vyavastha which we don't study in this class. Is the nipatas get a particular kind of swara, and so there has to be distinction to be made. You have to make a distinction here to put these in a separate class to get that kind of swara. Thirdly, not only swara, but nipatas may take some operations which you may not want for some of these swaradis, and one of which we already looked at, one of them, sutram ot, which we saw before, which is odantoyo nipataha. Having said all of that, having said that, these lists are kind of confusing because there is some overlap There are some partha bhedaha also, which means that some words come here, some words come there, and this is not black and white. These lists are not black and white. You may have one book, we say this in the Swaradigana, one book says Chadigana, and at least for the purpose of this class, it may not make much of a difference to us. We are not doing Sura Vyavastha, and if it doesn't have any operations, if it doesn't have the Sattvartha, which is not going to be a physical item in any case, it will not make a difference to us. So that is the gist of this Chadeha and Swaradeha. There are two of them for some reasons. One thing is that Chad is only a Sattve. There is Sura Vyavastha also is there. There are some other operations which the Nipadas can take, but then there are not many of them. So you might find words which are here and there. Some are duplicated. Some are in books. Some books have it here. Some books have it there. So this is an overlap. So please keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. There are. This is not like a science. There are some overlaps here. Okay. Now what is Chadigana? Let's take a quick look at these now. Some of these. Like Ch, of course, means and, Ch, Va. These are exclamations. Like comes in Gita. Uktva tushnim babhuvaha. Samuvacha rishikeshaha prahasanniva bharata. So comes in the second chapter. Uktva tushnim babhuvaha. Let's see if we can find Uktva tushnim babhuvaha. Babhuvaha. Uktva tushni, chapter 2. Babhuvaha. Babhuvaha. I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm sorry. Down here. Babhuva. Oh. Here it is. Chapter 2, number 9. Ha means so indeed it was. It's used mainly in the Vedic literature, but also used sometime here, like in the Brahmana and the Aranyaka. This is very common. It comes in Gita also. So, Uktva tushnim babhuvaha. Of course, eva means that itself, emphasis. Evam means anena prakarena. These are two different words. Be careful of these two. Confusing. So, eva like an emphasis. Tadeva means that itself, that alone. Evam means in this manner. Or thus, this means thus. Nunam means surely, nunam. Shashvat chantim nigacchati comes in Gita. Shashvat chantim nigacchati means eternal, long-lasting. Yugapat, you can look at Yugapat now. Yugapat we already saw in Swaradigana, it's also in the Chadigana. It has overlap. Because, there might be some Swaraha, which in the Veda is coming both places. So it comes there and here also. In fact, I think we also already saw Bhuyas also. Bhuyava Mahabaho. Chet, so Apichet Sudaracharo Bhajate Mamananjabhak. Apichet comes in Gita. Apichet comes in Gita. Comes in Gita chapter 3, number 1. Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhi Janardana. So Chet. Chet means if. Yatra. This also can be looked in a different way. Yatra. Kachit. Very important, this one also. Means I hope it is so. Is it so? I hope. Comes in Gita, and my favorite one is in the end of Gita. Kachchita shrutam partha tvayika grena chetasa kachchita jnana sammoha panashtasya dhananjaya. So kachchit. So kachchid etat shrutam partha tvayika grena chetasa. That means I hope you listen to this carefully. So kachchid etat shrutam partha. So Arjuna, I hope you listen to what I have to say very carefully. I hope you listen to it with a one-pointed mind. And kachchidajnana sammoha pranashtasya dhananjaya. I hope your delusion has been destroyed, has gone away. So kachchid, using Gita very nicely here. So kachchit is a very beautiful thing. I hope you are going. So you can say, so gachasi kachchit means I hope so. So you are going. You're going, aren't you? So comes in Gita. Okay, Hema has a question. Maybe not. Kachit. Oh, kashchit. So you have to see this. So kashchit, that's different. Hema, let me talk to Hema. Yeah, Hema, that's kashchit. Kashchit is somebody. So that's kaha kashchit.
Yeah, I realized that.
It's okay, no problem. It's somebody. In fact, the good point you're making is that this kachchit is a little bit confusing with kashchit. This is an avyayam. Kachchit, that is kaha kas plus chit. So yeah, you have to watch out for that. So it's a good point is that we have to be careful. That kachchit means is an avyayam, while kaha plus chit, the kaha kas is the declined form, and only chit is avyayam. Chit. This is a single avyayam kachchit. Kachchit is one single avyayam. In the meaning means hope it is so. While the chit avyayam is also used with In fact, here it might come here in chit. I'm sure it's listed here somewhere. Chit. Yeah, here chit chana. It's coming later, Hema. Chit and chana is coming later over here. These also with the Pajapati to give an uncertain meaning. Kashchit means somebody, some person. Kena chit means by somebody. But that's different from this one, Kachit. Hantate kathayishyami comes in Gita. Divya Yatri, chapter 10 of Gita. Hantate kathayishyami. Hanta means like to draw attention. Listen, I'm telling you. Look. This is hantate. Again, I'm not giving you all. These have various shades of meanings. Okay. So I'm giving you some basic meanings, particularly from the Gita. They might have another shades of meaning also. Okay. We will not be covering all of them in the class, but just to give you a flavor of these. Again, look at this mang. The mang came there also, coming here also. Nishedatra. So yavat. So yavat means so long and until. Yavat tavat. So long until. Tavat. These also have some idiomatic meanings. Tavat means first of all, already. So if you look at apte, it will give you a variety of meanings for yavat tavat. When used in conjunction, yavat tavat means so long until then. So yavad agamishyami tavad atatishta. So until I come back, you stay here. Yavad agamishyami tavad atatishta. So stay here. But they can be used individually. They can be used individually in a different variety of meanings. So in fact, so yavat, you can see yavat is also be given here. It's in correlation with tavat, as much as. So yavat tavat standing for that. All whole, used by itself, yavat can be up to, until, just, then, in the meanwhile, tavat, yavat. So it means like as much as, in order that. So these have these various shades of meaning. They are used in correlation with each other, so long, until then. But they also have to be, they can be used individually for a variety of idiomatic meanings that we have to be ready for. Yavat, tavat. So tavat is here. So tavat can mean here individually used before, first of all, like first of all, firstly, tavat means surely, firstly. So before doing anything else, tavat. So on one's part, in the meanwhile, indeed, just now, gaccha tavat is a typo here. It means go right now. So these have variety of meanings. So yavat, tavat, and be careful. These also are declined. They can also use adjectives, like in Gita. Yavanartha udapane sarvatastam prutodake. That is a declined one. So this can be an avyayam, like bhuyas also. Bhuyas can be an avyayam. It can also be used as a declined form. So some of these is that you also have to be careful. Doesn't mean that there might be an avyayam form, will also be a declined form. So you have yavat tavat is in the category. So is bhuyas. Bhuyam si, bhuyam sah can also be used. Again, shaushat, vaushat, these are again Vedic exclamations, swaha, swadha, vashat, tum like to put down somebody, tum karanam, not very common. Tathahi, illustration, use an illustration. So you say, this is so tathahi, as give an example, illustration, as is well known, tathahi. So also tathahi. Khalu also means indeed, sure, definitely. So khalu, I think, is, let's look at khalu, what Apti gives khalu. Khalu can also mean that it is well known, khalu. So khalu, let's see, khalu. So khalu is nabhavati khalu. Certainly, surely, indeed, now, further, conciliation, inquiry, okay, prohibition also, reason, a lot of meanings. So one of them is the certainly, surely, verily, and kila. Kila is another one which has some special meanings. Kila, I'm sorry, kila. Okay, kila. Let's see what kila is. So kila. Again, verily, indeed, surely, as they say. This is one. As they say, kila. It is reported. Vartayam kila means so it is said. Kila. So these have these meanings. So this is more of vocabulary rather than grammar, vocabulary. But you have to get some familiarity. Of course, atha also is used. Sushtu, sma, plebyam ma, sma, gam of parts. It can be used ma, sma. It can also be used to indicate a past tense. Gacchati sma means he goes. This is one of the easiest ways to make a past tense. Use lat with sma. I think comes there's also a Panini Sutram for this. I think that's sme, which means that in conjunction with sme, with sma, you can use the lat lakara. Express a past tense. So let's me sutram for that approach. So sma can convey a past tense. Gachami sma, gachati sma. Now this is a Gana Sutram. Gana Sutram inside a Gana, you can have these kind of instructions, which might include some words in that, and you might prescribe some special operations, might do some small modifications, bring some extra features in the Gana. So these are also rules. Some of them are very important rules which we have to know. And one of them is, this one is, Upasarga Vibhakti Swara Pratirupakascha. One more time, Upasarga Vibhakti Swara Pratirupakascha. This is the Gana Sutram inside the Sutram Chadayo Sattve. The Panini Sutram Chadayo Sattve, where the Chadis are mentioned, the Gana Sutram Upasarga Vibhakti Swara Pratirupakascha. Is these terms which can mimic a Upasarga, or a Vibhakti means sup or tingantam, or a Swaraha means acha, they can also be considered as in the Chadi Ganaha. They'll get the Sanya of Nipata, also get Sanya of Vyayam. So like Avadattam, it's a bit complicated for this class right now, but Avadattam, what happens is that there's a special karyam which takes place when you form we won't go into this in this class today. If you want, you can look up on your own. Is Avadattam is there is a sutram in chapter 7 where there is a special operation where let's say 7447 where the like atta, so avada should become, so ada becomes atta. Now if you look at, let's look at 7447 very quickly, because why put avadattam, why put ava as the as an avyayam? Why not keep just an avyayam as an upasarga only? Because if ava was an upasarga, and this is too advanced for this class right now, but since it is here, let me just spend 1 minute on that. Is that if the ava was an upasarga, then we will have to perform a special operation which is not desired here. One more time. If you have we get the form avattam. So it will become the form, if ava was an upasarga, then the form is avattam, because 7447. But there is a form in the language which is avadattam. So that form can only get because if we don't have avas and upasarga. So what we do is that, what in the language it is done is that, instead of keeping ava as upasarga, we make it as an upasarga pratirupakaha. It only looks like an upasarga. It's not really an upasarga. It only looks like one. So that's how we get around this problem of these words in the language which are not doing certain operations, like an upasarga which might require. So then it is made into an avyayam as a pratirupakaha. So pratirupakaha is a term you want to remember in your head, because sometimes in the commentary you might say pratirupakaha. Upakaha means that it is a similar to some term, but not exactly that, and they can get the sanya of nipata and avyayam. Ahankaraha, astikshira, all these exclamations, so means like in English, oh, so evam numanyase, so that's what you think. So evam numanyase, that's what you think. So this e, u, nipada sanya. They also get the pragrija sanya, which we have, I think we may have studied, is the pragrija sanya comes in chapter 1. We have looked at that before, which is the sutram there also, which says nipata eka janang. When you use this e or u as an address or as like a recollection, they will get the pragrija sanya, and then they will get, of course, there will be no sandhikar, so there will be prakritya, you get prita pragrija achip nityam. So anyway, that you already done this in classes before, where that when something is a pragrija sanya, when it's followed by an ach, it stays prakritya, means it stays as it is. Okay, now, so that is what we are talking about here. Some of these, the Gana Sutram coming in the Chari Ganaha, it says that some of these terms which look like but aren't exactly an upasarga or a vibhaktiyantam, means if a subantam tingantam, and a like aham looks like a subantam form, Asti looks like a Tingantam form, but these have to be made in the Avya Sanya in order to go into these compounds like that, or from Tadita, like Astikyam, etc. And some of these swaras, these exclamations also. Okay, now the word Pashu, which you just saw, Pashu, Sukam, also Anga. Anga is a very, very common address form. Oh dear one, very dear address. It is used in the Bhagavad Pranam a lot. I don't think, it is in Gita, I'm not sure, but it's used in Bhagavatam a lot. So, hey, of course, okay, hey. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Sakheti. Again, we put in our example list, it is there. Bhujas is there. Aho is there. Aham. We just talked about Aham, Ahankara is there. And then I think we put this here also, this Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakheti, which I put here somewhere. So this is these are the words which come in Gita. Isn't this it? Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakheti. Okay, maybe we didn't put it here. But anyway, it is in the Gita. Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakheti comes in Gita. Now, Aye also like an address. Bhos also, Bho, so Bho Acharya. So it comes also a respectful address. Aye means like address somebody who's like very dear, maybe like a younger boy. Aye. It could also mean, it can also different means. Also, let's see what uptake is for Aye. Aye might maybe also be like an explanation. Aye. So Aye. Sorry. Aye. Aye. Okay, let's look at Aye. Aye is an exclamation, which means gentle address. Gentle address. Aye or Aye. Aye Gaurinath. Surprise, wonder. Oh, Aye Malati. Okay. The surprise, wonder, gentle address. Okay, thank you, Radha. Okay, so anyway, Hare means Hey Krishna, Hey Yadav, Hey Sakhi comes in Gita. This also comes in Gita. Aye is also used, Ekapade. Ekapade means, I think, let's see what uptake is for Ekapade. Ekapade, I think, also means instantaneously, quickly, Ekapade. Let's see, Ekapade. These are very strange usages. Ekapade. You may not suspect that this is an avyam. Ekapade. Okay, let's see, Ekapade. Chadayo, Ekapade, Ekapade, Ekapade. Because then what happens is that uptake may not be finding the online uptake difficult. Because he may have given Ekapade under Eka. So we may not find it here. Let's see. Swaradinipatamam Vilyam Chadayo Sattve. So Chadayo Sattve, that Ekapade. Ekapade. Give me 1 second. Ekapade. Let's see. Chadayo Sattve. Because some of these are not very, very commonly used. So may not be used to that. Let's see. Nanu Athava Ekapade means at one time, okay, simultaneously, or suddenly or simultaneously, Ekapade. Okay. Now also, as I said, it's Akriti Gana. You include some words which are not explicitly listed in here. Some words which are not listed in here or to be included in here, like Ai. We just saw that. It could be a surprise. So re, array, these are address array, which are not very respectful. Maybe somebody who's equal to you or lower than you. Then ha, and ha is an interjection. Could be also maybe like a rejection. So ha can have like maybe expressing sorrow. Ha hanta hanta. Oh no. In Gita, aho batamahat papam. So aho can also kind of rejection. Oh no. Now this is saha. Saha means of course together. Jatu is nahi kaschit khanamapi. Jatu tishthatya karma. Jatu tishthatya karma krita. Jatu tishtati. Na jatu means never. Never. So no comes in Gita chapter 17, last shlokaha. Nachata petya no iha. No means English no. How about that? English no is no. No chet means if not. He also indeed no. So kim means like a question mark. So these are all, I'm not giving you all the kimu. Kimu means, kimuta means what to say. It goes without saying. It goes without saying is the word with some of these meanings that, So kimuta, kimu means it goes without saying. These two, kimuta, kimu. Then kimiti means what for what reason? What could be the reason? What, why? So it's like another meaning of why for, So kimapi means something indescribable, something which is, kimapi means something which cannot be described. Prachita means on the contrary, Akande means all of a sudden. Chit and chana, we just talked about that, which is used for the Prajpadikam kim, declined forms to give the indefinite meaning. Like nahi kaschit kshanamapi, kaschit, na kaschit means nobody, kaschit means somebody. Na kadachana means never. Kadachana means sometime, na kadachana means never. So aho, utaho, can also mean can maybe like a inquiry. So aho could be or also, or atava. Utaho. Is it this or is it or that? Utaho. This is swit also can be giving that like chana and chit, sometimes swit, kasya swit means somebody's. Kasya swit. So it can also mean like a conjecture also maybe. So aho swit also means or. Ativa means extremely. So bata also is used as an address. Could also mean like aho bata mahat papam. It can also mean a dejection. Adhyapi means even today. Some of these also maybe look at combined. Adhyapi becomes andhyapi. That's also a difficult thing. Are these individuals or are they combined? It's hard to say. Because what has happened now is the Swara Vyavastha is definitely not there in the Lokika language at all. So, and these may not be used in the Veda that often. So, these making them one word or two separate has implication for the Swara. And the Swara is not used in the regular language. So, it's been very hard to now say that this is, Prutak Padam Atva Eka Padam. Thank you, Ravi. Kasya Svidhanam comes in the first Upanishad. Not first means just by the order. Ishavasya Upanishad. Magridrah Kasya Svidhanam. So don't covet anybody's wealth. Kasya Svid, that's the word Svid over here. It's not used so much in the regular language. Comes in Veda a few times. Prabhuti means that onwards. So itat Prabhuti from now onwards. Tu means like on the other hand. Some of these also not used in the beginning of a sentence, of a pada. So tu, never use tu at the beginning of a pada. We're not going in all those details right now, but some of these have specific usages that we have to know. Again, there's no sutram for this, but it's just by the usage. Nanu means there can be an objection. Isn't it so? But wait a minute. Nanu like wait a minute. But isn't it so? So it can mean inquiry or objection. He can also mean yasmat. Can mean indeed. Can mean also mean yasmat, because nama is a few meanings. Nama can mean by name. It's also a confusing one because naman pradipadikam we know. Napunsakalinga pradipadikam is also nama as an avyayam. Avyayam, there's a variety of meanings. Is by name. Dasharatho nama raja babhuva. There was a king by name of Dasharatha. Dasharatho nama raja babhuva. So by name, by that name, or famous by that name. Nama can mean, truly, really. It can also mean just few meanings. It can mean so what, who cares? Bhavatu nama. Let it be. It's okay. We don't, it can also mean, wonder. The variety of meaning for this. We have to watch out for this nama. Nama has a variety of. Let's look at Apte for a second while we're doing so much. If you look at nama in Apte, it gives a few meanings as an avyayam, nama. So nama is an avyayam called by that name. Indeed, surely, it is like probably, perhaps. Can also mean possibility. It can mean pretended action and granted. So may it be. It's like that bhavatu nama. Okay, it may be so. So what? Kind of. So what? Anger. So it can also mean. So there are a lot of meanings. Wonder, recollection. So these have nama is one we have to watch for variety of meanings. Nama, of course, iva means like, similar to. Iti is an end quotation. Dishtya means luckily. Dishtya is luckily. Oh, good. Thank God. Like thank God. In English, thank God maybe dishtya. No means also like a surely. It can also mean, nu can also mean maybe like a doubt. Also, it can mean. So Dishtya is yes, thank God. Nanu Vigat. So yet these are not very. Yes, this is also important. I'm sorry. So yet tat can also be used as a way. Be careful of this. Really, like in the Bhagavata Puranam, is used a lot. Yat can mean yasmat. Tat can mean tasmat. So yat and tat is not always the prathama athva ditya ekvachanam of the yat tat pratipadikam in the Napunsarlinga. Yat tat can also be used as an avyayam. So yat because and therefore. So yat can mean because. The yasmat tat can mean therefore. So like these are not very common. Some of these. So akasmat means also suddenly. So sayya means like forcefully. Ahnaya. Ahnaya means I think instantly. Instantly is ahnaya. Instantly anhaya. Samantat means on all sides, all around. But these are also not common. Then vai means, of course, indeed. And some of these also can be used pada purunarthe. They don't have any specific meaning. They're idiomatically thrown in there to complete the sentence. It doesn't have to be any specific. They may not add any very specific meaning. So pada purunartham. Some of these can like cha, vai, ha. These can be used some of these can be used in pada purunartham. Kincha, like moreover. Furthermore, moreover. Yadi means, of course, if, yadyapi, even though, yadva is, or if, yadiva, athva means, of course, or on the other hand, varam means repeatedly, purataha means in front, prayana is for the most part, same thing, prayashaha, most, vastutaha means in reality, vastutaha, truly, athakim. This is, athakim, let me see what meaning they give for athakim. Prayana. Athakim means okay. All right, I didn't know that one. Athakim means okay. Apiva. Apiva means also athava. Same. Kasmat is for what reason? Kasmat is why. So it may not be called, it may not be used. Again, this can be included in the vibhakti pratirupakaha. The kasmat may not be qualifying any other noun. It just might mean why. Like kasmat, really karana, something like that. Now, others are not very common. Kasmat and prage means in the morning time. Parashva is day after tomorrow. Sarak means quickly. These are not. Vraha means in solitude. So these are not very common forms. Upajosham means at will. Adyatve means at the present time. Nowadays, adyatve. So this is, I hope we've given you a good gist today of this, these are two important ganas, which is the Sarad Nipatam Avyayam, and Nipata Sanya brought us into the Pragrishwara Nipataha, and then we saw the main sutram is Chadayo Satve. So again, one more time, we started with this one, which is the Sarad Nipatam Avyayam. So the first sutram of the 5 rules, because of course it has to be the first one because it mentions the word Avyayam, which goes anuvritti in the next 4 rules. Then the Nipata Sanya, we start with 1456 up to 1497, and there came Chadayo Satve. We talked about these two, a very important list of words. Please, we went through them briefly today, only briefly, but this document is there, and these are both Akriti Gana. So you have to expand these and take the use. But many of them are already given here to you. Once in a while, you may find some new ones. Okay. And again, use the Avyaya Kosha to make, to use that also. Now, under this Pragrishwara Nipataha Chadayo Satve comes the Pradayaha Upasarga Kriya Yoge. Let's talk about these two for a second now. Pradayaha. The Pradayaha is a list of 22. This is not an Akriti Gana. These are 22 specific terms. Pra, Para, Apa, Sam, Anu, Ava, Nis, Nir, Dus, Dur, Vi, Ang, Ni, Adhi, Api, Ati, Su, Ud, Abhi, Prati, Pari, Upa. One more time. Pra, Para, Apa, Sam, Anu, Ava, Nis, Nir, Dus, Dur, Vi, Ang, Ni, Adhi, Api, Ati, Su, Ud, Abhi, Prati, Pari, Upa. Very important list. Cannot emphasize to you the importance of this list. Please keep this on your, somewhere on your wall, somewhere. List of these 22, Pradayaha. Normally we call it Upasargas. But they are not always Upasargas, because the next sutra is Upasargas. So Pradi is only a list. It's a list of terms. It's a list of terms which get the Nipata Sanya, and also get of course the Avyaya Sanya by Suradi Nipatam Avyayam. So Pradaya only gives a list of terms. Now what happens, the next sutra says Upasargas Kriya Yoge. When these are used in conjunction with to enhance the meaning or to in any way transform or influence the meaning of a verb, which is explicitly present at that time, they get a sanya upasarga. Upasargas kriya yoga. So upasargas is a very important term in grammar. Upasargas are only the pradaya, nothing else. Only one of these 22. And they are used kriya yoga. Before going there, look at, you have dur, dus, and nir, nis. Why do you have two of them like that? Because what happens is that even though most of the time give the same operation, the sasajusho ruhu, it may be asiddham or some of the prior rule which might require a refa to be there. That's why you have dur, dus, nir, nis. So you have these two of these, because sasajusho ruhu is going to come, only going to come in 8 to 66 that. To require a refa prior to that, then you have to use this nir. So you might notice that. So really 22 is like 20 plus 2 kind of, 20 plus 2, 22. So upasarga only kriya yoga. Now, but they may not be used kriya yoga all the time. So they might be used in all different meanings. So in fact, in this 1.4, there's a section called this, which is called the Karma Pravachaniyaha. Karma Pravachaniyaha comes in this part of this 1.4. Let me just find it for you. Karma Pravachaniyaha. So that some of these ones can be used without being, so here this Karma Pravachaniyaha. Some of these, we're not going into these details today, so don't worry about it too much right now. Some of these paradis can be used on their own when there is the dhatu that they're implying may not be present at the present time. In Gita, my favorite example is that chapter 16 starts in the Gita with this Guna Suchi, right? All Sadguna Suchi, all good qualities, the Daivi Sampatti, right? Daivi Sampatti. And then it goes, I think, for 3 shlokas. And at the end, Shri Krishna says, Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhi Jatasya Bharata. This Abhi is not connected with the word Jata. Very confusing. Because in chapter 16, the same chapter of Gita, comes a shloka which says, Ajyo Abhijanavan Asmi. Abhijanavan. Abhijan can be like a high birth, aristocratic birth. That's not the meaning in this 16.3. Because you have a Dvitiya Vibhakti here, Sampadam Daivim. And it should be Abhilakshya. Which Abhi it doesn't have its verb with it right now. It's used without taking with the verb. So this is a very confusing usage in the Gita, because if you look at Sampadam Daivim, it's a Dvitiya Ekavachanam. So the Dvitiya Ekavachanam will be standing on what? Because that Abhi is saying Abhilakshya. So in short, this Pradaya, when they are used Kriya Yoga, when the verb is there and they're connecting with that verb, because in this Gita example, there is a verb, Jatasya. Jan is here. But that is, this Abhi is not connecting with that verb. It's not Abhijan. But so that's why it's not Upasarga here. But when you have of course, most of the time, well, I think the overwhelming majority of the time, the overwhelming majority is they use Upasargas. That's why when you say Paradi, you say Upasarga. So it is true. But they can be used also like a word Api. Of course, Api can be used on its own. It has its meaning. It comes in Gita, right? Api means Apitrailokya means even. Apitrailokya rajyasya hetoh kindamahi krite. This Api which we just saw, Api is in this gana of the Paradi gana. So here we have Api is here. So Api doesn't have to be used Kriya Yoga. It can be used on its own to give certain meaning. So this will still be a Nipataha, still be a Vyayam. It will not be Upasarga, but Upasarga is only Kriya Yoga. One more time. Upasargas are only the paradis when they are used Kriya Yoga, directly connecting with, modifying in some way the meaning of a verb in any form it may be a verbal form, maybe a participle form, but they're connecting with that verb, connecting, modifying the meaning of that verb which is present. That is upasarga. But so paradis, when they're not upasarga, they're just paradis. They will be nipata sanya. They'll get the avyaya sanya. Even upasargas also will have nipata sanya. They'll also avyaya sanya also they will have. But when the paradis are not used connecting with the verb, then it is not going to be a upasarga anymore. So you have in Gita both kinds of usages do have. We says api tailokya rajyasya. Then comes in Gita other places also. Api sudaracharo, api che sudaracharo, api che sudaracharo. Vajate mamananyabha, chapter 9. So api can be used. Now comes in Gita. So bhishmeva virakshantu, bhishmeva virakshantu, avirakshantu. This abhi is connecting with the dhatu raksh. Protect Bhishma all around. Avirakshantu. Protect him well. Protect him. So bhavantas sarve vahi. So this will now be a upasarga. It's kriya yoge. And this one is not kriya yoge. Apitailokya rajyasya. It's still a pradi, but not kriya yoge. Both of these have nipat sanya. They will have the avyaya sanya. Because you have to do supluk. See, suojas nitya karyam. When you get a pradipadikam, because arthavada dhatura pratyaha, right? So arthavada dhatura pratyaha. So all of these will have the arthavad. They have some meaning. So they have some meaning. They become pratipadikam. It's unavoidable. So this pratipadika sanya is going to come. When pratipadika sanya comes, then you have to do the karyam which is the suojas. So we are bringing the pratyaya suojas as the case may be. So if you have to do supluk, you want to use sutram which is avyaya supaha. That can only be used when you have the avyaya sanya. So you want to get the avyaya sanya, which then you need to get to the sutram. Avyaya sanya means only 5 rules, which we just talked about, 137 to 1141. Okay, this is a short listing of paradaya. We'll be looking at this in great detail over time. Look at upasargas. So one more time. So paradaya is a set of 22 terms, which is included in the nipata adhikara paradaya. They get the sanya upasarga when they're kriya yoge. In fact, we're not going to look at this today, but they also get the gati sanya. Now, why have 2 sanyas? Why have gati sanya and why upasarga sanya? The gati sanya is a bigger basket. It's a bigger bracket. Gati sanya is not only the paradaya kriya yoga, but also other terms which are included down here, which we'll not go into today. But these also get, like alankaroti, means he decorates. That alam also has a gati sanya. But upasargas are only paradaya kriya yoga. Nothing else. Upasargas means only paradaya when they are kriya yoga. The same upasargas get the gati sanya also. But the gati sanya includes other things, other items, besides the paradaya kriya yoga. One more time, it's a very important concept. Firstly, we saw today that the nipatas are like they are a subset of avyayas, because swaradi nipatam avyayam. So nipata get the avyaya sanya, but they're not the only avyayas. Nipata is a subset of avyayas. Within nipata, you have paradaya. The paradaya is a subset of nipatas. It's a list of 22 items. Those paradayas get upasarga sanya when they are kriya yoga. And they also get the gati sanya kriya yoga, but the gati sanya also includes other things. Upasarga sanya is closed. Upasarga sanya is only for paradaya kriya yoga, for nothing else. Gati sanya includes the upasargas and many other things, all the way up to 1480. Te parag dhatoh is going to come here. Okay. So in Gita we see both kind of usages, where is the pradi used as upasarga, of course many places, and pradi used as on its own also. So this is the one. We're running out of time. Now what I'd like to do for next time is that I'd like to give you this next sutra, maybe topic of the next class. Of course we still have 4 rules left. We have the 1138, 39, 40, 41. We have this 38 is going to take a lot of time next time. So ditascha sarvibhaktihi. So what this sutram says is that if you have dita prayogaha, after which all vibhaktis are not possible, means that you cannot bring in meaning-wise. It would not make sense to bring in all the 21 vibhakti, means all the 3 numbers, all the 7 vibhaktis. If they're not, let's take a word like yatra, in which. Yatra already means in which. Now you cannot take yatra and start adding, to that a panchami, chaturthi. It will not make any sense. So from, in which from, doesn't make any sense. So yatra will get the avya sanya, because this is chasara vibhakti. So any tadhita prayoga, after which it will not make sense to bring all vibhaktis, will not take all vibhaktis meaning wise, then those tadhitas get the avya sanya. Now, there's a problem with this sutram in that if you take it literally, if you take this sutram literally, it creates some problems. So we'll talk about in the next class. I just want to give you some homework in the last 5 minutes here before we come back for Ramayanam, is that if you take the sutram as it stands, even a word like ubhaya, ubhaya is declined only generally in the singular and the plural. So now it doesn't have dual. It's also tadhita prayoga. Ubhaya also is tadhitanta prayoga. Tadhitanta prayoga. So if you just take the sutram as it stands, tadhita chasara vibhakti, then even ubhaya will get the avya sanya, which is anishtam, which will not, because then if you get avya sanya, you have to avya rapsupaha. You could not say ubhayam, ubhayeshu could not be said. If you take ubhaya, doesn't have a dual, so it cannot take all vibhaktis. And then if you just take the sutram literally and say tadhita chasara vibhakti, then ubhaya also will become an avyam. So these are some problems with this sutram. The sutram taken as it is will include, unfortunately, some other terms also, which it is not desirable to give the avya sanya. So what has been done here is what's called the parigananam. Parigananam kartavyam means that a listing has been done. A listing has been done for us, which we know these tadhita pratyayas, they create an avyam. So as far as we are concerned, we have a very easy job. There is a list of 6 items, 6 which I want to give you the homework for next time. You take this as homework and try to read up on your own these sections of these 6 kinds. Of course, we are not going into details. We are not going to form these words in detail. We will do that when we study tadhitas in detail, maybe a year or 2 down the road. At that time, we will remind ourselves that these tadhita and prayogaha, they get the avya sanya by this sutram 1138, tadhita chasara vibhakti. For the time being, we'll only look at these without going into the detailed derivation of these. Some of these are very common forms. Of course, some of the rules we do know, but we will not go into full detailed derivation right now. We'll only make a note of the fact that these kind of tadhitas, they create indeclinables. So parigananam is a listing has been done for us. So please take this for homework. The first list is from the sutram 537 to 5347. If you can just go to the Ashtadhyayi and try to scan and make yourself familiar with what this section is. There are some very common forms like Panchamyas Tasil is 537. Tataha, Ataha, Utaha, Sarvataha. So from that, from here, from where, from everywhere, Anyataha, otherwise. So this is a pratyaya called Tasil, which comes in this section of 537 to 5347, which has been listed as a parigananam. A listing has been done. It's going to create an avyayam. Also like saptamyastral, atra, kutra, sarvatra, tatra, also very common form. Idamohaha, iha, here, iha. Kwa means where. This will go into class in detail next time in the class. Just going to give you some homework for today. Then you can say sarvada, sada, ekada means at that time, at all times, then at one time, and at another time, at what time, when. Yada means at which time, tada at that time. Then etarhi, karhi, yarhi, when. These are also forms. So like aduna means at the present time. Idani means also at this time. There are also these words like sadhyaha, instantaneously. Purattating means this refers to the year in this year. So adya means today. Purvedyahu means in the prior day. Anyedyahu means another day. These are all variety of the tadhita forms which are going to create an avyayam. Don't go into details of all of these today. We will look at them in the next class. I'm just going to point you that these are going to create the but the Purut means in the last year. Okay, Purut means last year, but Purut is last. Sadhya means immediately. Purut means last year. Now also Thal, Yatha, Tatha, Sarvatha. So a lot of these famous ones. Let me use this section with 537 to 5347 is one section. Then the other section is we'll go in detail next time. The next section is this called from 5442 to 5467. Shastrabhriti Prak Samasantebhyaha. From the Pratyaya Shas up to the Pratyaya Samasantaha. So from 5442 up to this 5468 starts Samasanta. Prior to that, Sahasrashaha, Shatashaha, also well-known forms to use, so that's also another thing. Now the third category is affixes and am, not very common, like Pachaditaram, Pachaditamam, somebody cooks very good, somebody cooks the best. So Pachaditamam, these are not very common forms. So the category 3 is not very important. Category 4 is that we use something so many times. Kritva Such comes in Gita. Sahasra Kritvaha, chapter 11 of Gita, means 1,000 times. Panchakritvaha, Saptakritvaha, 5 times, 7. These are avyayas. Dvir, when you do puja, Dvirachamya, it's having done achamya 2 times. Dvirachamya, Dvir means 2 times. So all of these are going to create avyaya. Avyaya means you get supluk, avyaya of supaha. So this one also look at this section from Kritva Such in the section 5.4. So 5.4 I think start from 16, 17. So 5.4. This also, if you can just scan these for homework. So we can be a little bit familiar when we do it next time. So 5, 4, 16, I'm sorry. Yeah, so Kritva Such, sorry, 5, 4, 17. 17, 18, 19, 20. 5, 4, 17, 18, 19, 20, Kritva Such. Then the Pratyaya Tasi, this is, and Vati. Vati we all looked at only Brahmana, but Shatru comes in Gita, Shatruvat. Vartet apne Shatruvat in the adverb, in that acts like something. The last one is a small category, which is this Vina and Nana. Vina, Nana. Without Nana means variety. So that please do is for homework. Look at some of these sections one more time. Is the first section is from 537 to 5347. The second section is from 5442 to 5467. The third one is a small section, 5411, 12, not very common. The fourth one is this 5417, 18, 19, 20. The fifth one is this 4311, 113, not very common, but it's Vati Pratyaya, 115, 116, 117. And the last one is 5227, Vina, Nana. You can do for homework, just take a look at these, be familiarize yourself. And then also we'll take a look at these last 3 rules next time, Tunme Jantaha and the Tvatosun Kasunaha Avyabhavascha. So we'll look at the next time. So yes, a little bit over time, but I hope you got a good feel of Avyayani. What is the Swarajigana, what is Nipata, what is the Chadigana, and also next time introduction for the Ditashcha Sarvabhakti. So let's stop with that. We'll come back for Ramayana. Again, this is March 26th. This is the first class, Prathama Bhagaha, Vyakaranam Bhagaha. Today we are the first session of the Avyakaranam. We'll try to complete this one next time. So, Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate, Ramam Ramesham Bhaje, Ramena Vyata Nishachara Chamu, Ramaya Tasmai Namaha, Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham, Rame Chittare Sada Bhotame Bho Rama Mamudhara, Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasanama Tattulyam, Rama Nama Varanane, Sri Rama Nama Varanana, Om Nama Iti. How are you doing, Ravi? We're okay?
Yes, Satish.
Okay, we'll come back in